Welcome back to Newsday. And the Federal Inland Revenue Service has dismissed allegations by former VP Atiku Abubakar that the appointment of express payments as a federal revenue collection channel was politically motivated. The FIRS described Atiku's claims as misleading and incorrect, stating that no private entity has been granted a monopoly over government revenues. The service clarified that it uses multiple payment platforms, including QuickTeller, Remitta, and Flutterwave, to simplify tax payments. But the agency emphasized that all revenues collected through these channels go directly to the Federation account without any intermediaries at all. This response comes as Nigeria implements comprehensive tax reforms aimed at modernizing the economy. So joining us now for a conversation about the claims and counterclaims by former VP Atiku Abubakar and the FIRS over TSA collection, but also the need for sobriety and transparency over public fund collection, is Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale. Thank you for joining us on this topic, sir. Absolutely. So, we broke down some of the information from this story in the introduction, but I think I'd like to start with you just explaining this in a very plain English way. How does this impact regular people on the street? Why does this matter?
It matters a lot because you are talking of the funds that government will use to take care of all of us. And it's better, it is well collected and well reflected in the way government does its expenditure. But in this particular instance, Atiku's criticism goes beyond what you have just asked. It's laying claims that there has been some favoritism and that some issues had happened in the past, and the government is denying that. You get me? The government is saying that it has had an open field for people to come and provide service. These are payment solutions service providers, and this company has just come on board. There have been others there, about 3 or 4, Remitta and all, those people. They have always done it. So they have just added another company, obviously, to make sure that the revenues, the collection goes round and speedily. Because when you talk of these payment solutions, speed is of essence, speed and efficiency. That is their main assets. And that's what government is trying to do. What is reading meanings into it? It's reading meanings into it. And government is trying to deny what it's saying. That they had an open field and that this express solution is just one of efficient, speedy collection of revenue. But it's reading meanings into it. And trying to link this new company with what had transpired in Lagos State before, when this president was governor. He's trying to link the two together. And he's talking of a monopoly and some private interest, taking collection of what is meant for all of us, through the inland revenue. It is as usual. It is, to me, it is either libelous or slanderous. But I leave that to government to know what to do. I even insinuated that those things happened in Lagos State. I'm sure the Lagos State government is in a position to react to that. But you see, Atiku cannot hold back government from executing its executive functions. This administration, this president won the election, and he has to marry his policies to the funds that he has, and to recruit people or companies that will make him implement his program. That is executive function. That is his executive function. And he has to do it through equipment and people and create the environment to make sure that government works diligently and efficiently. This is what is happening. Right. Let's leave it at that.
All right. Well, Mr. Sobowale, now let's talk about accountability. What mechanisms exist at the moment to audit FIRS's own collection processes? Who is watching the watchers, more or less?
Well, there will always be audit. There will always be audit in accounting, in any accounting system. There will always be audit. You see, FRS asks the institutions to audit its account, its collections, and its distribution. And the fact that Atiku has said this does not mean that there is no accountability. It's being mischievous because he did not win power. That is my reading into it. And I cautioned the other time that if government is trying to safeguard its interests, it can take him up on either slander or libel, as the case may be. But it's in a position to raise criticism, but it's not in a position to insinuate wrongdoings when they take on a new company to be a payment solutions provider, and you are reading meanings into it. If the company is not qualified, it's a different thing.
Well,
But the company is one of several.
You know,
yes?
when it comes to this administration, we've seen a lot of denials. They're quick to deny a claim, whether it's about security, whether it's in this case. Is the government being forthcoming when it makes all these changes? Why do Nigerians always have to find out after the fact as opposed to being carried along?
They are being carried along. I don't like your insinuation.
I'm also insinuating.
You see, you must separate insecurity from corruption, from tax collection. There are various aspects of governance.
But they're all
and
under
in this
the same
particular instance, government is aiming at efficiency in the collection of taxes. If you say that they may not use the taxes for the purpose, or they have not used it diligently enough, that is your opinion. You get me? But what the way I see it, they are using the digital instrument to make sure that we collect our revenue into one account, single account, and it's to eliminate waste. You get me? And see, somebody once said that we have a world economy, we do not know all the sources of our revenue. Huh? So if they have more than one payment solutions provider to scout around and collect revenue, what is wrong with that? That's an attempt at government efficiency. And that is the mandate of the man who is on the seat as president. Atiku can criticize no end, but they cannot stop the machinery of governance and government. Yes.
And,
Next.
similar to like what you said, taxes should improve the livelihood of ordinary citizens. I mean, at what point do you think Nigerian citizens will be able to confidently say, I see where my tax money is going?
And when government performs. When government performs efficiently and, how do I put it, takes care of people and creates a safe environment for people to earn a living, and make sure that it protects the life and property of people. But it has to set in place the machinery, the equipment, the institutions, the infrastructure for this sort of service delivery. This inclusion of this payment solution provider is one of them. I mean, if Atiku cannot come and say, because one incident happened in Lagos State years back, that is what is going to happen. The government, you see, don't always listen to the government side. The government has defended itself, and I admire the lady who made this. That look, it was open, they have always had service provider, this is an addition, there is no monopoly. You get it? So why don't you give us some credibility?
There's a lot going on, like you said, Mr. Sobowale. There's so many elements that we would like to see more transparency and accountability. Even they said we should not necessarily bunch up taxes with insecurity and the likes. But on the broader context, you did say that you think this is more about a case of, I don't want to put words in your mouth, more like sour grapes from Atiku. Like this has nothing to do with transparency. He's just
and efficiency.
Why do you say that?
I say that because of the examples he gave. What transpired in Lagos State, it's a well-known example. If you do not know it, it does not matter. There was a payment solution provider like this, who people said was owned by one person or the other. That's what he's referring to. How can you be insinuating that what is collected for the whole country is going to go into account of some cartel or private people? That's an insinuation. It's an insinuation.
Yeah.
The government is at liberty to react to that insinuation, either through the courts or whatever. but I will provide the go through the courts. But then I will want Atiku to concentrate on criticizing government without any more slinging or libel or slander. Next question.
The next question is just about what comes next here. I mean, these claims, these counterclaims have been put out. Everyone is clear as to what's going on. But how do you see this evolving in the coming days, the coming weeks? Especially as we're dealing, how do you see this evolving in the coming days and weeks as we deal with insecurity?
Look, I'm saying to separate insecurity from this. Let's concentrate on this now. The government has clarified this position. If Atiku is not satisfied, let him come on board again. But I see nothing fishy about having more service providers. And I see something mischievous in saying it is a monopoly. When government has put out the names of other people who are in the field. If it is a monopoly, it will be a single laptop. But it is an addition, and it is meant to create government efficiency, transparency, and accountability. That's what their tax reform is all about. And I'm for it. Any attempt to collect money and make sure we see what is collected and what is distributed, I welcome it. It's for the good of all of us.
Okay, Mr. Sobowale, yes. Even though you don't want us to talk about other matters, like you mentioned.
You can. I'm just saying they are different.
Of course. But when you broaden this or go beyond this tax situation, what would you advise this administration to do more when it comes to earning Nigerians' trust in terms of transparency and accountability?
Beautiful. You see, to use the same zeal, the same skill, and efficiency with which it is collecting this money to make sure the money is used to provide services that will make life easier for Nigeria. You get me? You see, most governments are ardent and active at raising revenue, tax collection, internally generated revenue. But you see, let the speed with which they generate that, you get me? Be replicated in which they provide public services and make life safe for people in terms of safety of life and property. That's it. Marry the zeal for tax collection with performance, service delivery to make life easier for Nigerians. Yes.
What a note to end on. Mr. Dayo Sobowale, thank you very much for joining us today on this very important topic.